Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm going over my NFL 100 list for the 2022 NFL season. I just did number 100 through 51 for this video, because that's what the NFL is doing for this week. On August 14th, they're premiering their 100 through 50 for their 100 list, so I'm going to do mine as well. And then next week I'll do 50 through 20, and then the week after I'll do 20 through 1. So I'm really excited about this. I always like doing this series on the channel. I'm only doing 3 videos this time. So for those of you who don't know, the NFL 100 list is a list of the 100 best players based mostly off of last season. But obviously if someone's a multi-year veteran, then that can also impact their ranking as well. Injuries can impact what rank they are on the list, or if they're on the list at all, because sometimes players do miss the list due to injuries, or they get significantly lowered from usual due to injuries. So I tried to balance all of those out, generally speaking. If there's anyone you think should be in the bottom 50 that I missed, let me know in the comments. They'll probably be in the top 50, or they may have had a different reason why they weren't on the list, injuries or whatever else. First off, I want to start off with some honorable mentions. These are my 101 through 110. They're not really ranked in any order, but there's just a bunch of players that I think could have been on the list, but just weren't there yet. I put Patrick Surtain second, Mac Jones, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dalton Schultz, Ryan Jensen, Devin McCourty, Hassan Reddick, Frank Clark, and Quandre Diggs. A lot of these players either were Pro Bowlers or almost Pro Bowlers. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a great second half of the season, but his first half made it so he wasn't really able to get the stats to be on here. Aaron Jones has had a phenomenal career, but last year was definitely a step back for him. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to put him on the list, so I put him here. He might have been in the 80 to 100 range, but I wasn't positive. I put Devin McCourty on here because he had a 17.6 passer rating when targeted last year, and he had a pretty solid season, even though he wasn't technically a Pro Bowler. Quandre Diggs, very strong safety that I wanted to make sure was on the list, and Patrick Surtain had an amazing season last year. So, 100 through 91. At number 100, we have Von Miller. I think Von Miller, although he didn't have his best season of his career last year, still deserves to be on this list. He's a perennial Pro Bowler, an amazing player, and he was an amazing key factor in the Rams winning Super Bowl. I have center Ryan Kelly at 99. He's been a very strong center for the Colts for a few years now. Consistent Pro Bowler, very good player. Number 98, we have Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle for the Eagles. He had a very strong season this year. He had a good number of sacks, a good number of tackles. I can't really go through every single player on the list, but I'm basically just going to skim through a lot of them. 97, if there's anyone specific that I want to talk about, I'll talk with them. 97, we have Mike Williams. First time on this list. I don't think he's been on the list before, but he definitely has deserved to be in the past. 96, Brian Burns. 95, Kirk Cousins. This is significantly lower than some of the other places that he's been on this list. He's usually below 50. I don't think he's been above 50 before, but there's some years he's missed the list. I want to make sure he was on here, but he definitely wasn't one of the top quarterbacks last year. He could have. He was close, but I think that he was a little below some of the other ones. 94, we have Brandon Scherff. 93, we have Demario Davis, another perennial on this list, on here every year last year. He took a step back, but I wanted to make sure he was still on here. 92, we had Leonard Fournette, great season last year. 91, we have Rasul Douglas. This is someone that I don't know if everyone would agree should be on here, especially because I have him on here over Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander only played 4 games last year, and Rasul Douglas came in. He had a phenomenal season. He played 12 games. He started 9. He had 5 interceptions. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a passer rating against of I think 60-something, and he had 17 passes defended. He had a phenomenal season. I want to make sure I put him on here. Number 90 through 81, starting off with Keenan Allen. We also have linebacker Foyesade Olakun. This is his first time on. He hasn't been on an NFL 100 list before, but I looked at his stats for this year. He had a lot of sacks. He had a great season. 88 Rashawn Slater. 87 DE Trey Hendrickson. 86 TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson missed the list last year. I thought he should have been on it. I think 86 could be a little low, but he still has a lot of room to grow. I think that next year he'll be higher. 85 we have Corey Linsley of the Green Bay Packers. Number 84 we have Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott missed the list last year. I wanted to make sure he was on it this year because even though he's technically doing worse than he was at the beginning of his career, he's still a top running back in the league, and I think it would be a shame if he wasn't on the list. 83, we got Michael Pittman. Great season last year, breakout year for him. I think that this year he's going to have another amazing season. 82, Harrison Smith, and number 81, Kyler Murray. I don't remember if Murray is lower or higher than last year. I think this is a little lower than he was last year, but he also had a slightly worse season and he has some injuries. Number 80 through 71, we're starting off with Harold Landry of the Tennessee Titans. At 79, we have Minkah Fitzpatrick. 78, we have Joel Bitonio. 77, we have Kenny Moore. And just like Michael Pittman, another breakout season. I think that this year with the Colts, he's going to be another reliable veteran on that Colts defense. Number 76, we have Jeffrey Simmons. Number 75, we have Hunter Renfrow. Number 74, we have Jason Kelce, perennial on this list, one of the best centers in the league, and most definitely Hall of Famer. 73, Kyle Pitts. 72, DeAndre Hopkins. He didn't play a whole lot of games last year, but I still think that 72 is a well-deserved spot for him. He could be higher. I really don't know where the NFL is going to put him because I really don't know how they balance between what injuries really matter and how much previous seasons matter. I know last year he took a step back a little bit, but not a whole lot, even though he didn't have a great year. So this year, I really wasn't sure where to put him. And at 71, we have Marlon Humphrey. Moving on, at number 70, we have Cordell Patterson. Cordell Patterson was the entirety of the Falcons' offense last year. I think that this year he's going to be even more. The Falcons are going to rely on him even more in the passing game and the rushing game. Number 69, we have A.J. Terrell, also from the Atlanta Falcons. 68, we have DK Metcalf. A lot of people might think that this is either too low or too high for DK. He had a very subpar season last year. I almost didn't put him on the list, but then the more that I thought about it, he did have 12 touchdowns. He did have a very solid year, and he was on the list last year pretty high, so I took that into account as well. At 67, we have Zach Martin. 66, we have Denzel Perryman. 65, we have Jonathan Allen. 64, we have Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver for the Steelers, who had a breakout year. 63, we have Chris Jones, perennial on this list. 62, we have Derwin James. Derwin James had some injuries this year, but overall, he still had a great season, and I wanted to make sure that he got a good spot on this list. And 61, we have Russell Wilson. Again, injuries, always in the top 30, always in the top 40, sometimes mostly the top 30, top 20. I have him at 61 this year because even though he did play a lot of season, even the games he was in, he wasn't amazing, but I did want to make sure that he got a respectable spot. At number 60, we got DeForest Buckner. 59, we have CeeDee Lamb. 58, we have Shaq Barrett. Step back from the last couple of years, but still a very solid spot. 57, we have Max Crosby. I don't think he's been on the 100 list before, but he definitely deserves to be this year. 56, we have Dak Prescott. 55, we have Tristan Wirfs. Another phenomenal year from Tristan Wirfs. He got injured toward the end of the season, but he was one of the best breakout offensive linemen in the league. He's an amazing player. 54, we have Matt Judon. I originally had Matt Judon a little bit higher, but I lowered him a little bit because I thought that there was another player that deserved to be in the top 50. At 53, we have Dalvin Cook. Again, a lot of this is because of injuries. And even on top of the injuries, he didn't have the best season of his career last year. 52, we have Tyrann Mathieu. And at number 51, we have Alvin Kamara. Similar to Dalvin Cook, wasn't the best season of his career. He had some injuries, but I still think Kamara was as close as you could get to the top 50 list without technically making it. So, that is my bottom 50 for my NFL 100 list, number 100 through 51. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is there anyone you disagree with? Anyone you think should be higher or lower? This series is half a prediction and half my own thoughts. So I'm curious to see what the NFL picks. I'm curious to see what the players pick. And I'm excited to see what they come out with on the 14th. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.